So today I'm training chest, back, and biceps. And so for those of you that are interested, I'm training a 2-day split right now. And that's what I'm doing. So I'm rotating legs, shoulders, and triceps one day, and I'll throw a bit of calves in there, and then I'm doing chest, back, and biceps on another day. The reason why I'm doing this is because the odd day I will actually throw in an extra body part if I feel like it or not, or I'll add some extra volume some days. So this isn't actually set in stone, but this is the frequency that I've found is the best stable point for me, training body parts 3 times a week. It seems to be very good for me. I'm also here and there taking time off on certain body parts, and then what I'll do is incorporate other body parts instead. So for instance, last week I felt like my hamstring or my adductor didn't seem to feel quite right. I kind of pulled it during walking lunges. So what I did was I took a week and a half off legs, and I've been replacing sometimes extra upper body movements instead on my shoulder tri day. So sometimes I'll throw some extra biceps in there or chest, because I feel like my chest is my weaker body part. Because of the dislocations of my left shoulder and because some of the injuries of my bicep and this and that, I found that my shoulder is overcompensated, so my shoulders are actually taking a lot of the stress during my chest movements. So now I have to concentrate more so on really isolating the chest and getting a little bit more results. And one of the ways of increasing the coordination is to train the body part more frequently, even if you're not doing as much volume. You're constantly reminding your body how to fire that area. So that in a nutshell is what I'm doing right now. The other thing I'm doing is I've changed my diet, where I am now lowering my carbs in my diet at this point, just to lose some extra body fat and to get myself back into bodybuilding shape again in the way that you know, you can actually see the lines of the muscles and things. And I'd like to do this just to reset my blood sugar too, because for years I really didn't pay attention to my diet that closely. Because I was so busy doing so much cardio and stuff, I didn't have to. So now that I'm concentrating more on weight training, I'm supplementing my intake of carbohydrates. Now I'm increasing my protein. So I've lowered my carbohydrates. I just have 1 meal of carbs, maybe some starch or oatmeal in the morning. And then the rest of the day, I'll just supplement with 1 or 2 pieces of fruit or maybe a couple of dates. And then I've lowered my fat. So the odd time, I'll have a medium fat day where I'll have some avocado or have some almonds. But more often than not, I'm keeping the fat as low as possible at this point until I can reset my system to the body fat percentage that feels best for me. So yeah, so just bear in mind during this chest, back, and bicep workout, I'm not going for maximum poundages. I'm feeling my chest in a different way as far as I'm training it so often. I've trained it 3 days in a row. This is the 3rd day. And what's happened is that my chest is obviously burned out. So I've stuck to a little bit lower weights and just slower repetitions for most of the sets. And this is allowing me to continue to train, but I want to train safely, because when I'm tight, I don't want to be doing real fast reps with maximum weight, because that's, you know, when injury can occur. But as far as back and biceps, I feel pretty good. I did most sets of really light weight because I'm concentrating on my form. So as I've said in other videos, you know, my biceps move in a certain way because of the injury, the bicep tear and so forth. But at the same time, I'm feeling the biceps really well, and I'm getting a lot of results with them right now. As you can see, like the arms are really starting to come back, and they're starting to get a little bit more peaks now. So yeah, hope you enjoy the workout, and I'll see you there. So I already showed you a few of the sets that I performed on incline press here, barbell incline press. But in a nutshell, I performed around 6 to 7, maybe 8 sets of chest today. I just performed, you know, lightweight like I talked about before, just because I am pretty sore and pretty burned out. So I'm concentrating on just performing the weight or performing the repetitions slowly, because I really like performing the reps that way, especially when I feel tighter, when the shoulder or the pec doesn't feel quite right or whatever. I want to make sure that I'm just careful and just perform the movements carefully. And a lot of people underrate slow reps. They really underrate them, because they think that there has to be a certain amount of weight moved in order for the muscle to hit failure. And the truth is, the muscle just has to hit failure in order for an adaptive response to happen. And this failure should happen during an anaerobic sort of stage. So meaning that your workout or your set should fatigue you not through your breathing or your aerobic capacity, but through the muscle. The muscle just can't lift anymore. And it doesn't matter how you perform the rep, if it's slow or if it's fast. If the muscle can't lift anymore, that means you've pushed the repetition to its max. Okay? So I'm now moving into the other room and to do some bent over rows here. So I performed around 5 sets of bent over rows. I just was feeling pretty good. I mean, usually my volume isn't this high, but lately I've been feeling really good, especially with my new eating. It just seems like I can just go forever in the gym for some reason. So I don't know if maybe if you make me mow the lawn or something, maybe I wouldn't be able to do that for very long. But but I'm sure enjoying the pump and the flow of blood to the muscles and the real deeper connection to the body that I'm having at this point. I'm really taking my whole meditative practice that I do with another YouTube channel. I'm really taking my meditative practice into the body and really focusing on feeling the deeper and deeper subtleties of the body as I'm performing every repetition. So as much as I like to look leaner and like to make a sculpture of the physique and that sort of thing, it's really interesting once you start approaching training from a meditative point of view and say, how do I facilitate a deeper connection to the body and become very aware of each individual muscle fiber as it's firing and what's going on in the joints and all that sort of thing. So I moved to 225 here, and that's where I feel most comfortable with bent over rows. I don't go beyond that too often, but when you notice, it's just like in my other back video, I train in a constant tension sort of way. So I keep the repetitions up in the upper 2/3, and this keeps the tension on the back. It never transfers to a rest at the bottom. Okay, because that rest at the bottom is what gives the back a little bit of rest, and I want to push my lats and my back to maximum capacity, so it's forced to adapt. And so I've taken this repetition and I moved up in weight. But here you go, you got a lat spread there. Sometimes it helps if you can't feel your back, you just do a little lat spread just to remind yourself, and then you lat spread when you're performing back. You almost imagine that you're performing a lat spread as you're training back, and this will help you feel your lats more. So what I've done is I've just stayed at 225 for a period of time, and then I moved up for one set up to 275 just to test it out. But my grip becomes the weak link in this one because I don't really like using wrist straps. It's just one more thing to actually remember when I go to the gym, and I just like to be me, you know, natural Gallant bodybuilding, natural, no wrist straps, I guess. But sometimes I'll use wrist straps, but I haven't used them lately, and yeah, I just kind of enjoy just working my grip as well, and sometimes I use the grip as a sign. If my grip can't hold the weight, then maybe my nervous system's telling me something about the weight. It's just not the right weight for me that day. So anyway, here I believe I get 5 reps out of this. So what I'm drinking there is I'm not drinking a pre-workout, just so you know. I mean, I'll drink the stinging nettle type of concoction or whatever, or I'll drink some branched chain amino acids, but I don't believe in really using caffeine or, you know, all that sort of stimulant sort of stuff for working out. The truth is, if you need motivation through caffeine and stimulants, you just don't want to be there in the first place. Change your diet, you know. Change your diet. Change what you're eating. Sleep a little more. Take care of yourself in a bigger way. Don't artificially increase your energy through exciting your nervous system. I don't really... I mean, I know there are a lot of bodybuilders say, oh, it's the best thing, it's so good for you, whatever. That's a bunch of bullshit. I don't believe that at all. Stimulating your heart rate artificially up through the roof with a chemical, I can't believe that that's the best possible way to have sustainable energy through the day. Do it if you want, but I don't think it's the best way. So anyway, yeah, I got 5 reps there with 275. And then I come back down to 225 for the last set here. And like I said, I keep the back arched the whole time, you know, so my back is arched. And that's important. When you're bent over rowing, the back has to be arched. I see this big deadlift, you know, thing going on the internet, and I see so many people rounding their backs. I mean, there is going to be a massive amount of people in 5 or 6 years with bad herniations of their lower back or discs. They're going to have some sort of back problems. I mean, honestly, I think my brother might be in a good business. He's a naturopathic doctor, and he helps people with back problems and does lots of different types of therapy, such as prolotherapy, which is addressing ligament issues, and different types of therapy to help with discs and things. I think he's going to be a billionaire with this whole CrossFit phase out there because so many people are messing themselves up by lifting wrong. They're just rounding and just straining to get that 1 rep max or that PR. So yeah, I always rack my weights. Here you go. I'm a good little gym member. And I did not match my pants to the gym colors on purpose. I did not do this. I do not have any fashion sense. This happened totally by accident. And just so you know, so here I am. I'm performing an exercise differently on this. I'm not sitting in the machine. I'm actually leaning over and kicking my legs out. The reason why is because I like this angle better. It hits the lats more, and actually, as you can see, the back is moving. It's retracting the shoulder blades, and I'm feeling this in my lats. If I sit more straight up and down the machine, there is some work, but I feel a lot in the rear delts there. It's not as much on this angle anyway. I mean, both ways work for the back, but it's good to change your angles up. This is a Charles Glass technique. I see him do this all the time with the machines at Gold's Gym Venice when I was down there. He would always do this. So yeah. So I had to show you just a set of lat pull downs. I performed 2 or 3 sets of that machine, and then I just stayed light. I could have done a lot heavier, but like I said, I just want to pump the blood in and do nice and slow controlled reps because I've already worked the weight training or in the power aspect with the bent over rows. And here I am just performing slow reps on the lat pull downs. And again, it's great for feeling in the lats. If you have trouble feeling your back, start performing the reps slowly, and you will feel the subtleties of what's going on. You know, when you're flexing your arms, when you're using your biceps, when you're using your shoulders, and you'll feel the subtlety of when am I actually feeling my back. So it's an important exercise for every bodybuilder to do if you wish to start getting that mind-muscle connection, right? It's really just a meditation practice with movement. That's really all this is. So yeah, as you can see, I'm getting a little leaner from eating, and yeah. So I went from back then to biceps. I'm just going to show you a couple sets of this. And of course, as you know, I sound like a excuse guy, but my left arm does move different. So I do find that I get a really good pump of my left bicep, honestly, from the shoulder, or I mean from the elbow moving anteriorly. I know, a lot of people say, oh, strict movement, never move the elbow, but because the nature of the injury, this is what happens when I flex the bicep. The arm has to come up. It just can't move individually without that. But that said, it has really given me a great pump in the bicep now, and that's really what's important. Is the bicep the one that's fatiguing? And the bicep is the one that's fatiguing during the exercise, I guarantee you. Now my right arm looks different, of course, and I've showed you that in another video in the way it moves. But like I said, it's just a matter of when you have a deep mind-muscle connection, you will feel when that muscle is actually hitting fatigue and if that's the one that's dying or not. It's just that people that are unconscious with the body, they don't really understand how the muscles move, and they don't even actually feel the deeper subtleties of what's going on in their body. But once you have this, now you can start designing your own exercises and design your own angles and your own ways of doing things because there's such a deep connection between you and the body. So that's the most important part with your bodybuilding. So thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.